React lesson forms. HTML form elements work a little bit differently from other DOM elements in React because form elements naturally keep some internal state. For example, this form in plain HTML accepts a single name. Let's see this form in the browser. Open a CodePen and you see there is a form and it accepts a name. This form works in HTML and React, but it's convenient to have a JavaScript function that handles the submission of the form and has access to the data that a user entered into the form. The standard way to achieve this is with a technique called control component. In HTML, form elements maintain their own state and update it based on the user input. Check again this sample. Here, whatever you entered inside this input box will be saved in the internal state of this input, which is input.value, and it returns the John. But in React, mutable state is typically kept in the state and only updated with setState. We can combine the two by making the state the single source of truth. Then the React component that renders a form also controls what happens in that form on subsequent user input. An input form element whose value is controlled by React in this way is called a controlled component. For example, if we want to make the previous example log the name when it is submitted, we can write the form as a controlled component. Let's implement a name form component. Fork this pen. Here we rename the app to name form component. And inside constructor we set the state of value to empty. The value state will save the entered name by user. Also, we need a handler for changing value of input. Let's create handle change and the event parameter which used for accessing the value of input box. This dot set state value will be event dot target dot value. Also, we need another method to handle the submission of the form. Let's create handle submit. And here we use alert to show the entered name, which is this dot state dot value. And also we want to prevent refreshing the page. Event dot prevent default. Great. Let's create the input box. First of all, create a label. And here, name will be input. The value is this dot state dot value, and on changing the value, the method handle change will be executed. And another input with its type is submit, and its value is submit to. Okay, as you see, we created a React form, and let's check it. John, and press on submit. It seems there is an error. Oh, we need to put a form element which on submit is this dot handle submit, and close the form, and with tidy.js make it cleaner and save it. Great, let's check again. John, and press submit. Entered name is John. You see, it works. Since the value attribute is set on our form element, the displayed value will always be this.state.value, making the React state the source of truth. Since handle change runs on every keystroke to update the React state, the displayed value will update as the user types. With a controlled component, every state mutation will have an associated handler function. This makes it straightforward to modify or validate user input. For example, if we want to enforce that names are written with all uppercase letters, we could write handle change as this. Let's change this. We want to make all entered letter in uppercase. Here in handle change, we convert it to uppercase, and anything to write inside this input box will be changed to uppercase, and it's the result. The text area tag. In HTML, a text area element defines its text by its children, like this. In React, a text area uses a value attribute instead. This way, a form using a text area can be written very similarly to a form that uses a single line input. We will implement a text area sample in next section. Let's check the select tag. In HTML, select creates a drop-down list. For example, this HTML creates a drop-down list of flavors. You see the items here. Note that the coconut option is initially selected because of the selected attribute. React, instead of using this selected attribute, uses a value attribute on the root select tag. This is more convenient in a control component because you only need to update it in one place. For handling multiple inputs, when you need To handle multiple control components, you can add a name attribute to each element and let the handler function choose what to do based on the value of event.target.name. To see handling multiple inputs in action, we want to create a sample like this. We want to implement a form that gets user name, user gender, which is select drop-down list, and user bio, which is input, which is text area, and submit the value like this. Let's implement the sample from very start. Start from React start point at this address and fork it. The component name is user info form, and I put the component name in the render method of React DOM. Let's create the constructor to set the initial value for state. We have three values for state: username, gender, and bio. In the render function, we create a form element with on submit is this dot handle submit. We want to create three form elements. The first one is username, which is a text input. We set a name attribute to in this input username, and we will use it in future, and set the value to this state username, and onChange method is this dot handle change. Close the label and we close the form. Let's duplicate the label part 2 times to create gender and bio. Let's change the input to text area for bio and set the name and this dot set state to bio, and change the gender to select, and here we need to set 2 options. The option 1 is male, and option 2 is female. I can define the default option to select. Let's make it better by adding break line And at the end, we need a submit button. You see, we created the HTML element like this, but it doesn't work because we need to handle the unchange. Let's implement handle change like this. And here we use the computed attribute of JavaScript ES6 like this. This dot set state event dot target dot name, which is username when user entered value inside the name one. So this value evaluated to username and set the username to event.target.value and handle submit alert username this dot state dot username gender and bio. Great. The username, gender, and bio is empty. It works. Set the username to John, gender to male, and bio a developer. And submit it. You see, username is John, gender is male, and bio a developer. And as you see, it works. Okay. Also, we need to put the event that prevent default because it refreshed the page. See, the page remains here. So about handling multiple input, note how we use the ES6 computed property name syntax. You see, this is computed property name syntax, which is used in ES6 syntax to update the state key corresponding to the given input name. So this dot set state name is value. It's equivalent to this ES5 code. Also, since set state automatically merges a partial state into the current state, we only needed to call it with the changed part. That's all about handling forms in React. I hope you learned how to deal with input box, select box, and text area in React. Follow codingwithbasir.com and watch the next lessons. Bye-bye.